Hey folks, as promised, here we are at the Mt Si Motel. A few days ago, my wife and I went on Facebook Live and featured a few very well-known iconic locations in our neighborhood near Seattle and around the Snoqualmie Valley. Here is another spot you may recognize. We've had more than one film project that has occurred here: The Vanishing and Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me. Now, technically, this is my neighborhood. Our family has been in North Bend for about a century, and our house is just right down the street, just about a block away. And this is the main highway. Now, before Interstate 90, this was the Sunset Highway. This was the main route over Snoqualmie Pass. And before it was a highway, it was the Snoqualmie Wagon Road. Before it was Snoqualmie Wagon Road, it was a walking trail, a secret trail used by Native people, especially in their quest for spirit powers, squalalitut, traditional ceremony. So our house is right over yonder, just about a block away. You can see our roof line right there. Now, as a kid, growing up here in North Bend, this was before Twin Peaks. My parents would warn us not to go across the street. They said that people over here were dangerous. Now, in retrospect, I don't think the people that lived here were dangerous. But I think my parents were just looking out for us and wanted us to come home and be safe. And so they kept us away from the Mt Si Motel. They said people here were, dangerous, that we were in danger. But we would come over anyway. We'd ride our dirt bikes. We had all kinds of bicycles, banana seats, and dirt bikes. And we'd ride around the trails. And there used to be a pop machine located by the main office. And that pop machine was a destination. So because I wasn't allowed to go across the street, I would send a friend over with a quarter, and it used to be 25 cents, and I would get a ice cold orange Shasta. This was in 1984, 1985, 1986. This was before Twin Peaks. So there are many stories around this neighborhood that are just absolutely amazing. And as a patron on our Patreon page, we want to share the background, cultural context for many of these locations. I know there are Twin Peaks fans that are part of our club, part of our team. So we are going to feature primarily Twin Peaks sites. But what makes it different, what makes it very different, the focus will be local history, folklore, culture, the prehistory. But each site we will include a few tidbits of trivia and lore. So we'll start with that. So back when they were filming Fire Walk with Me, the actor that played Leland Palmer, his name is Ray Wise, he came out, and we were hanging around this sign. And this was the time when they were filming the scene in room 6 where he came around the corner and he saw his daughter, and he was shocked. He saw Laura Palmer in the other room, and he was totally shocked. And then you see a little boy with a mask on jumping across the street, and you hear "Black dog runs at night, black dog runs at night." So me and a few friends were hanging around this sign during the time of that filming. And so Ray Wise came out, and it was either right before or right after the scene. And he talked to us for like 25, 30 minutes. And he was super nice guy, super nice guy. And he basically said that we had to leave. But he said it in such a way, it was very respectful. And he talked to us, and just a real genuine person. I just really liked talking to him. So we were here during that filming in room 6, Fire Walk with Me. The other film was The Vanishing. Now, The Vanishing, the story goes that a gentleman was looking for his wife who had vanished over at exit 31 near Interstate 90. And he was staying the night here. He had maps. He was drawing out strategies, looking all throughout the woods, looking for his wife. She had vanished. He was gone. He couldn't find her. And that scene also was filmed here at the Mt Si Motel. So we have room 6 and we have room 8. So just a little hidden and secret history. So the name of our tour company is Hidden Northwest Tours. And what we like to do is talk about things that are hidden. Now, when you come and visit the Snoqualmie Valley, please look us up because we'd like to take you in person to these locations. So if you just look right over here, there's a little gravel and bark pit. So you can see like a landscaping operation. Now, a lot of people know about Mt Si Motel, but a lot of people don't know that right next door, there used to be a honky-tonk redneck dive bar called the Keg and Q. Now, the Keg and Q burned. There was a fire. This was in the 1970s. And my dad said that you were guaranteed a fist fight if you went into the Keg and Q after 9 p.m. Over the years, there were numerous very well-known artists, musical artists that performed there. There was a stage. So, for instance, country singer Conway Twitty, and you may know the name Arlo Guthrie. Woody Guthrie's son performed there at the Keg and Q, which is right over there. A lot of people don't understand. There's way more to this site than, just the motel, and that's what we like to do. And when you come out and visit us, we'll take you all around. We have stories about ghosts. We have, in a minute here, I'm going to share a Bigfoot sighting. But Roy Thompson, now we talked about Roy Thompson, the bootlegger. Roy Thompson, he was kicked out of North Bend. And the Keg and Q, that location, started out as a Roy Thompson operation. And he was known as kind of a redneck mafia type, Roy Thompson. And if you crossed him, you would know it. He was bending the rules, and basically his gatherings attracted a criminal element. So the city of North Bend officially kicked him out. He could no longer operate a business in North Bend. So he decided to come to this location where this bark and gravel pit is now and create an establishment. It was just outside the North Bend city limits. And as a middle finger to the city of North Bend, he erected a sign, and it was bigger than allowed. It was a huge sign, but he also purposefully put it upside down. He was kind of a rebel, and he was very he was a rowdy guy. You just didn't want to cross this guy. So on the other side of the bark is Big Dog Firearms. Now, Big Dog Firearms was Pat's Cafe, and Pat's Cafe was there for a long time. My Uncle Bill, who's now a Catholic priest, he got in trouble as a 5-year-old little boy. He broke into the cafe with his brother Bob, and as a 5-year-old, he took a hammer and they smashed out the counter and stole all the candy. And he's just a 5-year-old little kid, but it's a cute little story. So that's right next to the Keg and Q, and now it's called Big Dog Firearms. So here we are at Mt Si Motel, and we've got the notorious room 6 from the scene in Fire Walk with Me with Leland Palmer. And then on the very corner, we have room 8. Now, as you know, in season 3, it was a portal, and Philip Jeffries was sort of an oracle that gave out information. What's interesting is right through room 8, you go on the other side, and you can come out on what used to be called room 13. And there are stories that are paranormal that are kind of on the back side of the Mt Si Motel that I'm going to share with you here. Now, first of all, before Twin Peaks season 3, I had a friend that stayed in room 8, and I also spent the night in room 8 many times and had some very unusual encounters. Now, I'm not going to have time to tell all of that information, but what I will share with you are a few ghost and unexplained sightings behind room 8. So right over here used to be a swimming pool. It was filled in. There used to be a changing room. My grandparents, when they saw Mt Si Motel first being built, they felt that the family business might go down. They felt like this place might put us out of business, because right down the street we had an auto camp. Now, what is an auto camp? An auto camp is a place where early automobile owners used to pull in while traveling and rent a cabin for the night. So before that, it was horse and buggy or horse. And so the very first automobile or car owners used to drive across country on the old highway, and they would pull in to an auto camp. And so we owned Orchard View Auto Camp. That's where we live, a block away. And so when this hotel, actually it's a motel with an M, was built, my grandmother was very worried that the Antone operation, including a Shell gas station, would be affected. But no, we stayed in business. So right behind this motel, on the other side of room 8, if you want to imagine a portal going not only through the motel and into another world, the other world is pre-Twin Peaks. The other world is before the TV show and before the movie Fire Walk with Me even existed. That's the other world, and that is my world. That is the heritage that I carry. That is my heritage. I'm from here. This happens to be my neighborhood, my hometown. So there is the show, there is the art form, there is the expression, there is the magic of Twin Peaks. That is one world. But the other world is before it even existed, and the real history and the real folklore and the real origins of this town and its culture. It's my culture. And I'm very proud of it. I'm enjoying this series and sharing this with all of you. So through room 8 and out the other side, you go down the street. Back in 1988, myself and 2 other friends were walking down the street in July of summertime, and it was about 10 p.m. It was dark, and we decided we were going to go to town and pick up some junk food, probably some Orange Crush, I don't know, candy, chips, you know what I mean. So we walked down the path, which is right down here. This is Mt Si Road, and at a certain point, it intersects with the Milwaukee line, the Everett branch of the Milwaukee line, which is known as the Iron Horse Trail, the Snoqualmie Walking Trail, many different things. So right at that intersection of Mt Si Road and the Snoqualmie Walking Trail, we took a left. And so right when we turned the corner, it was 10 o'clock at night. It was dark. There was 3 of us. It was me. It was Isaac Gamazel and Teddy Shipman. 1988. Twin Peaks did not exist. All of a sudden, to our left in the pasture, just this empty pasture, we heard this sound, and I can describe it to you as this. It was low and guttural. At the same time, it was high-pitched, and also the vibration seemed to penetrate my body. It was so strong. I felt it vibrate through my rib cage, through my body. It was unearthly, an unearthly groan. And all 3 of us just took off running. We were totally freaked out. We just took off running. And later, my wife and I went online and we listened to recordings of Sasquatch and Bigfoot recordings that have been, captured in the area. And it was very, very similar. So in the old culture here, there are stories of interdimensional travelers. There are beings that can cross through this world into another dimension. And some of the old elders of the native tribe here refer to that as Saskets. And this mountain right here, Mt Si, has hundreds and hundreds of stories of mysterious lights, of figures that are seen and then they disappear, interdimensional travelers. And this predates 1990 when Twin Peaks aired on TV. This goes back to ancient times. In fact, hundreds and hundreds of years. This culture is the original culture of the first people. So a few more paranormal tidbits. on the other side of room 8. My nephew was driving home. He was in the passenger seat. My sister was driving. He looked out the window of the Red Bridge, which is just on the other side of this motel. The Red Bridge that goes over the middle fork of the Snoqualmie River, and he saw a figure there. He saw a person standing with dark hair, had a very dark complexion, and he looked at this person. He thought it was a real person, and then as they were driving by, the person vanished, and so he realized he was looking at a ghost or a spirit. And I talked to my sister, and she did a little more research, and then she found out and remembered that there was, in the mid-'80s, there was a young high school kid who had a tragic accident on the old bridge in the same general area. And she located his grave, his name, she remembered, and she actually pulled a picture up of this young man. And sure enough, that was the apparition that my nephew had seen. And one more story before I let you go. And again, when you come to town, we can take you on a journey. We have so many more stories. This is just the tip of the iceberg. We can take you to these locations, and I mean, you could talk about it for 6 hours. There's so much information. So one more story is back in about 2015. There was a gentleman that, I guess he was really depressed, and he came out to the Red Bridge. The Red Bridge is seen in one of the episodes of season 3 of Twin Peaks, where the woman is crawling out of the bushes and she has blood on her clothes. Anyway, back in about 2015, this would have been before the filming of season 3, this gentleman came out from the east side, and he decided to tie a rope to his vehicle and dangle it up and over the bridge, and then he hung himself. He hung himself on the bridge, tied to his vehicle and hanging right above the river in broad daylight. And ever since then, there have been paranormal activity around that bridge. So not only the apparition seen by my nephew of this young man that died in the mid-1980s, but since 2015, after the suicide, people that live right close to the bridge have experienced strange phenomenon. Okay, so I promise you folks, we're going to go to some more Twin Peaks sites, and we're going to have so much more to share with you. This is just a sample of Mt Si Motel, and when you come to town, look us up. We're going to take you around. Again, our company, Hidden Northwest Tours, and you can also find us on Amazon Kindle. We wrote a book called The Odd Man Up on Amazon Kindle, and it's a book all about this neighborhood, and I'm really excited about it. So Odd Man Up, Amazon Kindle, Hidden Northwest Tours, and look us up when you come to town. We are going to be heading to a ton of film sites, but again, we are going to show you the hidden and secret and obscure background information that nobody else knows. I know there's a lot of fans out there, and they collect a bunch of trivia and really fun information, and they share it, but this is stuff that has not come out publicly yet. This is local knowledge. This is stuff that people that are from this town would know, and this is stuff that you can't find in the museum necessarily. This is oral history. This is in-person, have lived here all your life kind of stuff. So stay tuned. We're heading down to the Roadhouse, and we're going to be at the Roadhouse, and we're going to head to a bunch of other sites, and I'm really excited. So cheers. Have a great day. Love you all. Thanks so much for your support. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.